Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, do you know there's just 148 days until Christmas 2021? And able to get back on today. You know, I see Star Wars Meg stopping what you're doing to watch Santa. Thank you so much, Meg. We'll be talking about Meg's video from today with our predictions for the Bad Batch. Episode 14, of course, War Mantle. Big episode, everybody, I think, is very excited. Folks who are following the Bad Batch, certainly very excited to see this episode. Mike Porter, hello, and Brandon Voss. We've got Renegade Knight. Hello there. Thank you. Ronnie Jimenez. Good to see you, Darth Chaos. We've got some fantastic folks here in the chat. And, you know, we every Friday morning, here in the East Coast time zone of the United States. 7:30 a.m. I do a live watch party. One of the most fun things we do during that watch party is go through predictions of the episode, and we give scores. So you see down at the bottom it says Wall of Fame predictors for episode 13. These are folks who put in their predictions last week and they beat Santa. So I put in my predictions, and other folks go in, they put their predictions in, and we score how many you get right. And the folks who meet or beat Santa go on the Wall of Fame. So this week, I was looking at the predictions. We have people waiting to the very last minute in hopes that they can get a leak, that they can get a rumor, that they can get a little hint into what's coming. And you know what? Earlier today, Meg put out her video, and there are some hints in there. And what's fantastic is I saw Meg put her predictions in earlier in the week, and I thought, oh, looky there. Meg is actually going for it on the predictions. And then I watched her video today, and I said, I see you, Meg. I see you. I see you. That was a very good hint. You guys go check out her video from today where she's talking about tomorrow's episode of The Bad Batch and the interview with the voice actress who plays Nala Se. So it's a very good video and things. So I suspect that we are going to get more predictions in after some of our last minute folks watch Meg's video, and then they scour the internets, right? They need to go out to all of the sources, see if they can find any clues so that they can beat Santa. We have, you know, quite the competition going on now, and people are people don't want to come in behind a Magic Maker, who's our co-host on Thursdays, and a Magic Maker's running just a little bit late. I'm running late today too. We're getting some work done here at the North Pole at the homestead. We're going to have some contractors in doing some renovations and work. So we had a contractor in here walking through the house looking at what we needed to get done, and so I had to postpone our talk today. Yes, super excited for War Mantle. And so as we speak, here's our good friend, the Magic Maker. Hello, how are you doing today?
Hello. Rolling in late. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So we normally start off with just a little bit of a review, some discussion about the last episode. And first of all, Spencer, so much. Thank you so much for joining as a new member of the channel. One of our Blizzard Battalion members. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the support there. So, and we're growing in our subscribers here. Not only the subscribers to the channel, but the channel membership continues to grow so that we have the way to fund giveaways. And we just gave away the Slave 1. We gave that away a couple days ago, as well as our Black Series Jar Jar bait. So next month we're lining up the giveaways. So if you're a member of the channel, Blizzard Battalion members, just $2 a month, that'll enter you into a vintage collection giveaway. If you are a Snowpack member at $5 a month or more, you are eligible for the vintage collection giveaway, as well as a Black Series figure giveaway. So I ordered some Black Series figures yesterday, and those are going to get shipped. So we'll have some Black Series figures to share. And then if you are an elite squad member, that's at $10 a month. You are eligible for the Vintage Collection, the Black Series Collection, and then we will be purchasing some customs and some of the like Hot Toys, those kind of things as our giveaways. So it's going to be a ton of fun. And so we normally start with our discussion of last week's episode. The episode that universally is being panned by fans of the show. Not everybody's favorite episode. And I see Darth Elvis. Hello! Good to see you here. And Darth Elvis is recuperating. He's back there into the regular workflow of things, and we'll be getting back into doing some recording, and looking forward to getting a new intro. And he's going to do a Darth Elvis special custom for Santa to replace our intro music as we come in. And Ronnie, $5 super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, Ronnie. Hey, do you think the Martez sisters will show up in the Ahsoka show, since it looks like they're working together? I would not be surprised. What about you, a Magic Maker?
Nope, never going to show up. You're not going to see him in Star Wars again.
That's a lie. Oh, that's funny.
No, of course you're going to see him. Of course.
Yeah, I think so too. So what did you think of the last episode of the Bad Batch there, Magic Maker?
It was the best episode ever.
No, you text me. You were less than satisfied with it, right?
No, I think more than anything, watching it, I looked at it, I went, man, they used some of the same things I did in some of my own writing. They're stealing from me. That's what I did.
Well, you've got spies checking out some of your fan fiction stuff.
I do think they did. Back in the day, I wrote a show called a screenplay called The Mandalorian before The Mandalorian came out. Mm-hmm. All right. In this case, it was about Boba Fett. It was pre Empire Strikes Back and all that. And sure enough, there was a child that was a part of that, and that whole thing. And I was like, when I saw they came out with The Mandalorian, I was like, what? They're stealing from me. They didn't even title it the same thing I titled my screenplay. I was like, what the heck? What's going on here?
That's very funny. Upon reflection, and I watched it a few times, I get better thoughts of it once I've kind of thought about it more. At first, I thought it was almost entirely a filler episode, but going back, I think there was actually some things that are going to come into play in a much more significant way than my first impression, and specifically, I think with why did I just lose her name? Trandoshan Sid. With Sid,
absolutely. This is a necessary episode for Sid. This is a gain trust episode with Sid.
It is, because we knew all along she's untrustworthy.
Right.
Like, she's doing things for income. They were quite forward with it as far as, look, you shouldn't trust me. We don't trust you, and that kind of thing, right?
Right.
And I think in this last episode, it changes that game quite a bit.
Oh yeah, the tables have turned. So if we think of it with our relationship with Sid, the first that they owed Sid, so they had to do everything Sid asked for. All right.
Yeah.
And then we have the episode where we find out that Omega's great at hollow chess, and then that she evens out the debt, so they no longer owe Sid anymore. So now they're even, and now Sid owes them.
Yes. Yeah, and Meg gives us a great quote here. Now, I can't say it nearly as well as she could because I don't have a British accent. If you're going to read Shakespearean, words, it needs to be done in a real true British accent. Meg could do a far better job of it than I can.
The heathenous batch, the mantle of war.
There you go. Much better than I could do. Part 14, the mantle of war. Yeah, war mantle. We'll get there in just a second. So we've got Yeah, I think the relationship with Sid, and I saw T-Rex put, okay, who cares about Sid? I think Sid's important. She becomes she's been their source of revenue, how they fund things, and she ends up putting them in situations that's going to affect how they go forward as a unit. They're and I'm thinking back specifically to what happened on Ryloth, and before that on the other planet where the senator was, few weeks
Raxus?
ago. Raxus, and Ryloth, where they're actually working against the Empire, and beginning to kind of align themselves more with where the rebels will emerge. And so Sid is the one who's putting them into those jobs, and she's kind of positioning them there. They're not seeking out that kind of work; they're gaining that kind of work, and she's important to their livelihood. She's important to their connection to the universe at large, and how they go about doing things. So she's absolutely critical, and she's key to them maintaining some sort of safe haven, someplace they can retreat to without the Empire breathing down their necks. And so far, that for them has been there with the Orb Mantell, right? Yep. So as long as Orb Mantell becomes that safe haven for them, Sid is giving them their work. She's extremely important. So I think that this last episode, changing that relationship with her, is actually far more important than I initially had thought of the episode. And should the season get, or the series get renewed for additional seasons, 2, 3, 4 seasons, whatever, this episode will begin to be built upon in other contexts. So it's actually I think looking back, it's going to be a much bigger, more prominent episode than we initially thought.
No, I mean it's closing off an arc. This well, I won't say it's closing off. But it is that we're on the arc that I just set before. They owe money. It's paid even, and now it's closed off to where she now owes them. So that's that's that arc. What happened is, the reason why people are disappointed is because the arc we were on with Ryloth captured all of our attention. So we were like, oh boy, this is getting good. And yes. And then they abruptly ended that and went back to the old arc, and we're all like, well, what the heck? That's not the arc I was on. I'm on this other arc, and so but this is kind of how linear storytelling really does go. I know we got kind of used to these solid contained arcs inside Clone Wars, and then we had this meandering storytelling inside of Rebels where people got ticked off by filler episodes. They each had their little piece so you get to know the characters, but they didn't like it just because it felt like it wasn't progressing the arc of the show. But now what you have to understand, now they're complaining because now there's arcs inside the show, but they're not all self-contained like they were in Clone Wars. And so what you're seeing is there's these arcs inside this that if you were to break them apart, they would easily follow in the Clone Wars fashion. But that's not how they're being told. They're not being told in one self-contained 4-episode anthology.
Again, we've kind of talked about it before, how it's a linear, right? This is a linear progression. T-Rex asked a question about why did the Bad Batch go back to Sid's Cantina? Didn't they already pay off the debt? They weren't going there specifically just because they were indebted to Sid. They were going there because they needed a source of revenue. To begin with, they had no debt with Sid. When they first landed on Orb Mantell to begin with, they had no debt with Sid. When they took on that first job from her, they had no debt from her. They incurred debt afterwards as a result of losing some of the
weapons, and not getting the weapons they were promised to do, and then of course eating their weight in
Mantell mix. Mix. That popcorn is pretty delicious. They were working with her from debt, but then afterwards, I think the reason they go there is it's a safe haven for one, is their base of operations where they work out of. They found that it's a place they can seek refuge, and that it is also a source of revenue, income for them, because it has connections into places where
Right.
people need help. So I think that's
Right.
why they keep going back to Ord
And it's a
Mantell.
known quantity. It's a known quantity of where they're at. They know what they're getting when they get in there. And
Yeah.
if Sid didn't make it clear why her spot was to be taken over, is because Ord Mantell, she is in the key spot to hear all the key materials that come through Ord Mantell, and Ord Mantell is strategically positioned on the hyperspace lanes.
There you go. There you go. I'm looking up something. I'm a little distracted because we have so much fun on Friday mornings, and this past week, Meg came in during our watch party, and
Oh,
she dropped a phrase in there that has now made it onto my server, and I'm looking for it. Somebody made a graphic of it, and I'm going to have to ask if somebody can find it, if they'll send it back to me again in Discord. She came up with. We were talking. We were talking about, do elves get paid? What kind of benefits do they get? And then Meg comes out with elves with benefits. So, yeah, she, she's I've got so many trolls in my own Discord server who, just like a Magic Maker, love to give Santa a hard time, that they went out and they created a graphic for it. They planned on putting this onto merchandise so that people can buy it, and then we're we're just hoping that we don't have to pay royalties to Meg for coming up with the term, because they're having way too much fun with elves with benefits, all that might entail. So that's been a ton of fun. So War Mantle's coming up.
That will fit well with some of the names we came up with when you get ready to rename all your levels. I don't want to announce them because it's up to you.
No. Well, hold off. Ducky says no trolls. They're more like playful little elves. Yeah, elves are mischievous. And I tell kids about this all the time. Kids come and they ask Santa, or Santa asks them what they want for Christmas. And often they mention about Nerf guns. Nerf guns are extremely popular. But when elves, they need to do a little product testing. You know what they like to do? They come and they assault Santa with these Nerf guns. It happens all the time. And we got Nerf bullets all over the place when these elves just do their product testing. Of course, they've got to make sure that they work when they get to their little kids on Christmas morning. So
right, got to be safe. They can't be shooting holes through Santa.
So Santa gets barraged with these all the time, and so of course elves with benefits fits right into the mischievous nature of our elves here. So X-Wing's here. Good to see you, friend. So we have War Mantle tomorrow. What are your initial thoughts? And first, have you seen Meg's video for the episode tomorrow?
I have not.
Oh, naughty list. Not that that's anything new.
Not surprised.
not that anything's new. So,
already live in cold country. I'm not expected. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. You're always there. So, what do you think of what are your impressions then of War Mantle without the knowledge that Meg has imparted?
So I of course I don't have that knowledge, and but my thought process is that we're heading back toward that. So I think I think we just closed off the arc with Sid. So we're heading back into some pretty cool stuff.
Magic Maker, Meg is competing with you for the dad puns.
Oh no!
I don't know if you're watching the chat, but you should be.
I'm not. I should be.
You should be, because she's killing me. She's.
All right, give me a second. I'll have it up.
Oh, this is what happens on my watch party, and this is how we got that stuff.
Normally I am on it at the same time. I just failed to start it.
She said,
I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
We don't have to give royalties for the elves with benefits. That's nice, but she's full of. She said that joke slays me. Right, so there's that one, and then And then you did a little ways down. How Rudolph of you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Meg. I normally do watch your videos. I've just been super busy.
Her heart is frozen, but she'll let it go. Let it go. You've got a preteen daughter, so you're all into the let it go.
Oh yes. She's actually moved past it. Now she's like I want to let it go.
So where do you think we're headed with War Mantle?
You know, let's just say that I still think we're on path for opening up the process to get rid of the clones. I think we're on the process to move in our regular troopers, and I think that we're going to start seeing aspects of super weapons starting to come into play. I think that's kind of where
super weapons.
Yeah, because Tarkin's involved, so I think we're going to see some involvement there.
Ooh. You know, I just reread the Ahsoka novel in between reading the High Republic books and getting caught up. And I see Sheev the Wise is here listening to Light of the Jedi. Very good. So I've been, Sheev, Meg hitting us with the ice cold jokes. Yeah. But I just re-listened to or reread the Ahsoka novel. And Ahsoka novel happens roughly a year after Order 66, so a bit after that, actually, in all. And at one point, she goes back to Ilum because she needs a new lightsaber,
Right?
Or new lightsabers. She goes back to Ilum, and the Empire's there, and they are mining Ilum heavily. So at that point, the temple's already been torn down. They've dug into it. They're making a big mess of Ilum already. So you mentioned super weapons. So what kind of super weapons are you thinking?
I think they're starting to develop because like at the end of Revenge of the Sith, we already see the Death Star under construction. So I won't be surprised if we start seeing some aspects of them testing some of those weapons and some of those things starting to come into play. So how they were mining we even see it into Rebels where they're still mining Kyber. So I think the idea that they're starting to explore and test some of those Kyber weapons, I think we'll start seeing some of that.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. We really haven't talked much about development of super weapons. We've been talking more about the clone uprising and, of course, the recruits, the stormtroopers replacing clone troopers. So War Mantle is that program, correct?
Right.
So this being titled War Mantle, we would expect that that's the case. And I put in the poll for this week for predictions 3 options, sort of like I did last time. War Mantle will kind of kick off. We'll see it kind of go into full bloom on Kamino, on Ryloth, or somewhere else. If you were to guess, Kamino, Ryloth, or somewhere else, what are you predicting?
Ooh, I'm going to say it's going to take us back to Ryloth because I think it has to do something with the mine.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, and they were mining, what you have to remind me, what were they mining there on Ryloth?
I don't remember what it's called. Somebody in the chat, please tell us what it is.
Dunium?
That's right. Dunium or Dunium.
Dunium.
Yeah,
Dunium.
You're right.
Yeah, Dunium. And Dunium was used in the construction of the Death Star.
Right.
So, not Kyber, but it'd be Dunium.
Right.
Meg. Interesting War Mantle is it's a Rampart and Tarkin-led project. Yes. Which is another part of the predictions. Do you think we'll see Tarkin in this episode?
Yes. I do.
Yeah,
I think we're
I
going
do
to see
too.
Rampart and Tarkin. I think it's coming full circle. I think they're going to, especially with Hauser rebelling. I think they're going to start doubting the whole thing with the. This is going to be another feather in the cap against the clones. So things are moving decidedly against the clones.
Well, and as Meg says, stuff's gonna go down. Yeah, I think that we're going to see some escalation of activities for sure. And Anthony asked pretty much a it's a basic question here, but it's good for folks that aren't really that deep into things to understand. Are War Mantle and Order 66 the same thing in terms of Star Wars? No.
No.
Order 66 has to do with the clones specifically being obedient to orders in removing Jedi. The Jedi were said to be opposed to what's the term they used? Rising up against, so to speak, right? Usurping power from the emperor, and so they were ordered to take out the Jedi. War Mantle has to do with clone troopers and coming up against. So they're reversing instead of just being obedient. Now they're rebelling against orders. So War Mantle has them pulling back out of that. So. And here is another good point. I see, hey, Steve Nielsen, hello, hello. And Meg says 100% we're going to get Tarkin. I predicted we were going to see Tarkin. I'm on the same wavelength with her there. And Sheev, you need to vote no Tarkin. Yeah, right?
Right,
Okay,
because I've already said it. You have to vote against me.
You have to vote no Tarkin because Santa wants to gain a point on you. So Sheev, you need to vote incorrectly. Vote no Tarkin on your predictions. That'll do me a favor.
Well, she already says that he's got to vote against me. So, and you never made that statement. So
that's true. That's true. Ducky raises another point. Didn't Boba help lead the charge against Kamino for the Empire? There is some involvement, and somebody pointed this out earlier this week that they had forgotten that Boba was involved in this whole ordeal in the comics. So I made a bold prediction, and again, after listening to Meg's video today, that there's going to be another introduction today or tonight, tomorrow, and I think it's going to be Boba Fett. I'm going Boba Fett. It will show up tonight.
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't think it's not that he's not going to show up. I just don't think it's going to happen yet, and I do think it's going to be in this arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meg, please, Filoni, let Boba be in this series. Yeah, I really hope that he's going to be in there. Is he in his 20s? I think he's in that ballpark.
No. He's normal
18?
age, so he's at this point in time he's 13, 14.
No, he's older than that.
No, he's not.
He was 13, 14 before. I think he's
all right. So let's
at least 16.
Let's walk this back. All right.
Okay, here we go. Meg says he's 16. She's saying 13 to 15. I'm in that 16 to 18. I was wrong.
Let's walk this back. So
okay,
we're just after Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith is 3 years after Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
All right. Boba is born 10 years prior to Attack of the Clones. He's 10 years in Attack of the Clones. So assuming that at least 1 year has passed, all right, then he'd be 14 at most.
At most?
At most.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
He was
he's
born at the time of the Phantom Menace. That's when he was born.
Okay. Well, I thought he was closer to 16, 18.
No.
But 14, I'll take 14. T-Rex says he's 14. I see some good questions here. Anthony, again, asks, how many years ahead of shows like The Mandalorian and Bad Batch in terms of timeline? It's a prequel series and original trilogy. The Bad Batch is happening in between those. It's happening right after the prequel trilogy and before the original trilogy. Mandalorian happens after the original trilogy and before the sequel trilogy. So there you go. So 14. yeah, I hope that Omega meets Grogu in the future, and I've been pulling for Omega meeting a toddler Leia. I am absolutely pulling for that. And rereading the Ahsoka novel, Ahsoka overhears a call with Bail talking to Leia, and she's speaking babble tongue, like just
So
babbling as a baby. So at this point, Ahsoka is aware that Bail has a daughter, but
right.
doesn't understand that it's that it's Anakin's daughter. So there you
Right.
go. So there you have it.
When does that happen in the thing? That's the end. That's at the end of her traipse around the galaxy before, right after she kills the Inquisitor, right? When she comes across Bail.
She kills the Inquisitor right after she met Bail.
Okay, so I had it flipped. Okay.
Yeah, she meets Bail, she kills the Inquisitor, and then meets Bail again and starts working with him. So, and all that happens a bit after a year after Order 66. So
Right.
Order 66 happens, about a year goes by when we pick up on the beginning of the novel, and then some time passes during the novel, some months. So we're a bit over a year when she meets Bail and then kills the Inquisitor.
Right.
So yeah, and then she gets her lightsabers from him,
Right.
or her kyber crystals. She heals them from red to white. So all that happens there.
Yep,
So so War Mantle, you're thinking it's going to happen where?
I think the next one's taking us back to Ryloth.
Ryloth. I am on Camino.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that Meg's video today puts me on the right path there.
No, you may be right. I actually don't think that. I actually think it could end up being on both.
Oh, it could be.
Yeah.
And the question is sort of is couched in where does it really kick off?
Right.
Where does War Mantle? I believe our friend put in there that it's gonna. He has a theory that it Skywalker's Academy. He says that he thinks it's already started, and it started on. Oh shoot! The planet where the Senate is, the center of the galaxy there. Why can't I think of it?
Python?
No. Where the Senate is.
Coruscant?
Coruscant. Yeah, Coruscant. So he thinks that it started on Coruscant and it's already in the works. And she puts, yeah, it already started. It has started, but when we talk about like it kicking off, like really going into high gear, I think that's the context we're saying. So this episode is called War Mantle. We're expecting things to really pick up. This to be a really action based episode. At least in my mind, it would be very action based, and that we would be. We'll see Operation War Mantle put into effect, even though it's kind of already started. I'll grant you that. Like they've already mentioned it, Operation War Mantle. It doesn't seem that it's done much.
Right.
So at least from my perspective, War Mantle hasn't really started in full gear, and that'll happen now, and it'll happen on. For me, I'm saying that'll happen on Camino.
I'm not saying it won't go there. Here's what my whole thought process. I think we're going to start seeing some stuff that Tarkin's working on. That's why I say I'm not saying we're going to see a super weapon. We'll see some of the inklings of a super weapon. We're going to see when it comes to the aspects of the stormtroopers. What we're going to see is So right up to now, it's been a Rampart's project that he wants to kind of push forward with. It's not something that's been given the green light for full go. I think what you're going to see is the reasons for it to be given the green light for full go, which will occur at the end of the episode. That's what I think.
Okay. I had to go back and find Sheev's comment. Sheev and I have a bet. And for those of you who have not been following, Sheev, earlier in the season, before we saw the deal on Cad Bane's noggin, right? Sheev had a bet, and Sheev said 100% Cad Bane's going to kill. I mean, Boba Fett's going to kill Cad Bane, 100%. But put it in the books, and I took him up on that. I said, nope. I think it's already happened. I think that event happened, and Cad Bane survived, and that Boba Fett's not going to kill Cad Bane. And so we have a bet that if in the future, if Boba Fett does kill Cad Bane, and Cad Bane dies as a result of something Boba Fett does, then I have to put Vader's lair in my background for an entire week on my videos. However, if Cad Bane dies from other means, or Boba Fett doesn't kill Cad Bane, they become best buddies, and they start working together, and they walk around arm in arm, singing happy songs and skipping through the meadows. If they do that kind of thing, then Sheev has to put Santa's winter cabin in his background for an entire week. So I'm so he's always picking on me, trying to get that going. So I keep BFFs, Cad Bane and Boba Fett, BFFs forever. That's what I'm saying. I'm having fun with it. So X-Wing says, I feel like that was a bad bet, Santa. But the deal is, it's harmless. This is what friends do. We have bets like this, and so if he has to live in Santa's winter cabin for a week, or if I have to live in Vader's lair for a week, that's okay. That's all right. We'll be fine.
He'll melt, though. That's unfortunate. Vader's lair is on Mustafar.
And if you ever watch any of his videos, he's always sweating. It is hot in Vader's lair. So, Santa doesn't want to be doing that. So anyway, I think War Mantle's going to kick off on Kamino. In earnest, we're going to see the clone uprising happen there, and it's going to pick up. You're saying it's going to happen on Ryloth. We've already had a bit of a clone kind of thing going on there, right?
Right. I think the instant with I don't think the uprising is going to definitely happen on Kamino. I think what you're going to see is them relieve all the clones on Ryloth, and the new stormtroopers come in and take their place, and then War Mantle will be given its full go.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it won't end up at Kamino; it just won't start at Kamino.
Yeah. Ducky. If Cad Bane lives long enough to make it to live action, Boba's not going to kill a senior citizen. He could end up losing the bet, but just because Boba puts him in an old folks' home. Just puts him in the wheelchair, rolls him in.
It's okay, Grandpa. It's okay.
It's okay.
Just live in your memories.
Oh my goodness. Very funny. X-Wing, I think Omega's going to kick the bucket, saving the Bad Batch. Ooh, Omega.
Oh, no. Omega's definitely... I mean, if you mean like literally kicking a bucket, then sure.
No, I don't think there's any chance Omega dies.
No chance that she's going to die. I believe that everybody will die before she does.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you 100%. There's no chance Omega dies in the Bad Batch. There's 100% chance she makes it to live action. And I think the question is, the only question is, will she show up in the Book of Boba Fett season 1?
I'm almost certain that's going to happen. And to answer Sheev's thing, he was talking about Boba as the alpha. Actually, I think he's the beta, which is why it's Boba, and we haven't met the alpha yet.
The chat is out of control.
Boba the beta.
We've got Megnog, Megs and Bacon. We've got oh my goodness! Individuals who are no longer viable members of the workforce. There you go. You guys.
We send them to Brackus.
Brackus? No, that's it's where you send your senior citizens. Oh my goodness! No, I think there's absolutely zero chance. Let's see, she put here, Omega is going to show up in the Book of Boba as Boba's long lost sister come to stop help him. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What if Omega kills Cade? Cad
Oh,
Bane.
what if
Like, he's
Omega
about
kills
to-
Cad Bane?
Like he's about to kill him in the final in the live action, and that's when Omega shows up.
Well,
Boom in the back
if you
with the
guys
bow.
if you guys want to see a great segment of a video, you watch Vader's lair when he thought that that oh shoot what's her name was going to kill Cat Bane in that episode when they were dueling. And he thought there for a second she was that he had died, and he thought he was going to end up in Santa's cabin. And you could just see like the color drain out of Sheev's face for a moment. He thought it was gone. He's like, "Oh no, I've lost the bet this fast." It was great. It was absolutely great. So let's see. X-Wing's making an argument for. When do we expect to see Crosshair start realizing he's made a mistake in siding with the Empire and go to the Bad Batch, or has that already started?
No, it hasn't started yet.
Yeah, I don't.
I think he wants to not follow I think all along he's not wanting to follow the chip. It's what he's doing is not of his own volition.
Yeah. I agree. I agree, and I don't think that he's revolting against it. I think that that little speech that they got may have started him thinking, but I don't think that he's pushing back against it at all at this point.
I don't think he can. I mean, right from the
I think he will, though. I think he eventually will.
You think so? You think he'll try to do it of his own volition?
Well, I'd say one of two ways. Either it's going to end with him sacrificing himself to save the Bad Batch, and that'll be his act of like pushing back against the inhibitor chip, and realize that he has to save their lives, and so he sacrifices himself to do it. Or that chip's going to drive him all the way to the edge. He's going to have one or more members of the Bad Batch backed against the wall where he can kill them,
right?
And then they're going to end up having to kill him.
Right.
And it's going to be that heart-rending moment when you see them really grieve over having to kill their brother. And I think that either way, Crosshair doesn't survive the season. There's no way.
No, I agree with you. He's not get through it.
We've got the Great Council. Hello there. Thank you for stopping in. You guys, so here you've joined into the fun, I see. With the
No, me? No, I never do anything fun.
Oh my goodness! Nick from would have thrown his TV across the room. I don't know the context for that X-Wing. I went back to see. I don't know if you're responding to me, but I'm not sure what you mean. I know that Nick is not a fan of Omegas. I love Omega. I think she's great, so I'm enjoying it. You guys. Shivy says Crosshair's going to die redeeming himself like other big antagonists in Star Wars.
Yeah,
I think that's the case.
I'm not sure how it's going to happen. I mean, I haven't seen any evidence of him being able to fight back against the chip yet. I'm not saying it won't show up, but because there's clearly some stuff that's happening where they're able to put their weapons down and not continue on the mission. So I don't know exactly what's up with that, but there's clearly some other stuff that's going on that lets us know that there's some weakness in the chip.
So X-Wing's kind of doubling down on it, where he's saying, I'm watching his comments here. It leads back to Crosshair and Omega. The dark and light pays off from the beginning, where he says, "I know it's not your fault," and then he's saying it's like poetry, it rhymes, and he goes on to say that that she's going to save him and she's going to perish. I just don't see it going that way at all, X-Wing. I don't.
She is not going to. I tell you what, if she dies in the first season, I will be. I won't say it's not possible for her to die, but she's definitively not dying in the first season.
Yeah, he says Omega redeems Crosshair and then she dies. I don't think so. I think that's. I think there's absolutely. I think there's absolutely zero chance that Omega dies in this or any future season of the Bad Batch.
Yeah,
Or any.
I'm hard pressed. I'll give it like a 0.1% chance.
Do you think they'll close out the arcs in the finale or leave it open for season 2, hoping it?
Some of the arcs will still be open.
That's a tough question. It's one that Meg has kind of thrown out there a few times in her videos as well. Will it be left to open, or will they kind of close it out enough where if it's not settled in the series, it could continue in comic book runs? I think that's a possibility if we don't get a season 2 of the Bad Batch. And again, we talked about this on the stream where Meg visited with me. I am concerned from a budget standpoint that there's not been enough people watching. Oh no! What have they said in the chat now? I'm concerned from a budget standpoint that it may not get greenlit for future seasons. Not because it's not good, but because the cost benefit's not high enough.
Oh no! Are you saying it's costing too much for them to make it?
I think it could be.
More than live action, you think?
No, not necessarily, but it could be that the viewership ratio. So, if it's 1 million per episode, I'm making up make-believe numbers. There's 1 million per episode and you got 100,000 people watching it. Or it's 10 million per episode, but you got 1 million people watching it. Right?
Yeah, I'm hard pressed to believe that any animation costs more than live action, and significantly more. Like the animation just isn't that. I mean, it's just a lot more for live action than that. I mean, the reason why you do that is because you keep your hardcore fans, and your hardcore fans are spending money on your products, and so the part of an animation is the purpose of the animation is to keep your hardcore fans happy.
X-Wing and Lunga are on the same page, and they're both going to end up in the timeout. I'm just saying. Lunga, I've been having a lot of fun with Lunga. Lunga absolutely does not care at all for Omega's character, and so of course I just say he hates children. As is clear, you don't like Omega.
It's obvious.
And it's obvious you hate kids, and so I'm teasing Lunga because we're friends, and so I want Lunga to have a plushie of Omega and set her right beside Grogu on his set, and so that they can be friends. And
now it's held for review. This is a death to Omega. If you didn't see that, what I was laughing at was Meg talking about Jar Jar Binks' cousin Jojo Bonks. This could be the one that kills Omega.
She competes with you for the comedic aspect of my show. Meg she's pretty sharp. Anthony's asked this question a few times. I'll bring it up. What do you think the chances of seeing Mace Windu show up as a cameo in the Bad Batch at some point?
I think that Omega will die first.
There you go. Yeah, I initially thought that we were going to see it, and I went off of the rumor from KRT saying that we were going to see Grogu in the Bad Batch, and that a prominent Jedi is the one who saved him.
Right.
And so I was going in hard early that we might see that. Actually, we might see Mace Windu and Grogu based off of that KRT leak or rumor, and it's looking less and less likely. I think it still could happen, but I would not. I'm not putting in my predictions yet. Let's put it that way. X-Wing, I'm not trolling. I know you're not trolling, X-Wing. Who is trolling though is my good friend Lunga. He's trolling for sure. Because he has a great sense of humor and he likes to pick on me. So there's that. Yeah, he thinks X-Wing does think seriously that she could have a very sad, prominent ending. I just don't see it happening.
I don't see it. I think I just don't see it happening. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. X-Wing's got to go back to work. Thank you so much. We do need to talk some point. X-Wing. He's out. He's one of those West Coasters that likes to stream late at night when Santa's going to bed. Luke had an evil clone called Luke. Right. Right. So, right. So if you go Jar Jar Binks, especially if DarthJarJar has been at play all along, then he could have a clone brot's.
That's right.
It could happen.
You could have Binks.
There's Lunga. He hates kids. Confirmed.
So my question is this: is Omega made the same time as Boba? So is she 13, or is she only 10? Made like 3 years later.
I think that she's 2 to 3 years younger than Boba, but she could be the same age, and just but I have a problem because preteen girls and young teen girls are typically more mature looking than their counterparts.
No, absolutely.
So I've got a picture, for example, of Mrs. Claus and I when we were both in 6th grade. Or I was a grade ahead of her. I was in 8th and she was in 7th. I'm sorry. So I was in 8th, she was in 7th, and she's a head taller than me.
Yep.
And so we started dating in high school, and I was taller than her. So it just happens at that preteen, early teen level, girls are typically look more mature than boys. And if they're the same age, I would expect she would look older than him, just because of where they are age-wise.
So are you telling me that elf training also calls that high school?
Well, when Santa was in school, that was the case. We had junior highs. We didn't have middle schools. So there's that.
Junior elf school.
The goat bucket. When's Sid going to give Omega the white armor? That's coming. I think that's absolutely coming. Let's see. I got to get caught up. I saw some really good questions and stuff going on, and in the chat, there's Lunga. I love Santa, hate Omega. Right.
You know what though? Here's what I'll say. I mean, who loves Ahsoka in here?
Oh, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many of y'all loved Ahsoka in the first season of the Clone Wars?
Right.
All right. Not many of you.
Yeah.
All right. I mean,
Morgan.
So I get it. I mean, how many people have said that Luke was whiny in the original Star Wars, right? In New Hope.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right, and then we loved him by Return of the Jedi, right?
Yeah.
So the point of it is you have a character who is the fish out of water, trying to learn everything. We kind of hate that because we don't like seeing ourselves as a fish out of the water. We want to be that sophisticated hero. Many of us want to see ourselves as Han Solo. Hey, I'm the cool guy. Who's gonna fly it, kid? You. I mean, we want to see ourselves that way. And so Ahsoka, by the end of it, has gone through this arc. She's earned her place, and we want to see her succeed and just rule, and she does, and we're excited. We love the episode and the final arc of the Clone Wars, right? So, in order for us to love where she's going to be in season 4, and I think that's where it's going to go, 4 seasons. I think it's already signed on, to be honest with you. So I hope so. I think you can set your fears aside.
I hope so.
We
kind of got to push forward. I hate to cut off the thought process, but I've got to wrap up here in like a minute.
Fine,
whatever.
But
no, I've got a meeting coming up in 5 minutes, so we kind of got to go. But Will Morgan, good to see you. He runs a channel called Meta Egg, and he is on the Snow White kick. Omega is Snow White. And he is working on a video. I got to see a bit of a preview of it, a glimpse of it, and it's going to be another great Meta Egg story. We'll get into that at some point.
No, you're probably to some degree, because everything of these kind of falls into archetypical stories. So I think you're probably right.
Meg, I was Omega's age once, and little Meg would have related to her. Except I'm not blonde, nor do I travel the galaxy with older men, and that's a good thing, Meg. I'm glad that you don't travel. I would be concerned. I would. That's good.
So she's not Meg. She's Star Wars Omega.
Oh, right. We've got that. Real quick, just to get caught up with the chat, and we'll wrap it up. Yeah. Even Mike Porter had middle school. Do you think it's an outlandish theory of Jar Jar, Darth Jar Jar? I think it's a fun theory, but it's not true. And there's Lunga again with hating children. Is it? Clones have gone through wars and how they cope after 66 makes interesting stories. That's true. Veterans dealing with PTSD and coming back into civilian life after a war is absolutely a compelling story. But kids ruin it all, and it's garbage because Omega's in it. Anyway, that's
I don't know. I think kids tend to be the angels that redeem us.
There's Jimmy McKee. Yes, Meg started this. Elves with benefits. It's a thing. We can't go into it.
I love my elves with benefits. Thanks, Santa.
T-Rex, Darth Jar Jar is real. I saw him under my bed. Right. So, hey, I am super excited about this episode. On your excitement level for tonight's episode, is this maybe at the top of the season or near?
Near. I mean, I think this is going to be the final arc because I think we're entering the final arc of the season. So yeah. I think this is the opening salvo for what's going to end up being the the uprising, which I think will be the final episode.
Even regular Jar Jar under your bed was scared of living Skittles. Oh my gosh. You guys, it's been a great time visiting with you. I am so sorry I've got to cut off so quickly. I've got a meeting coming up here. We're involved with a foster care ministry program here in Central Ohio, and we've got some foster care ministry stuff to talk about, but I've got to go. I am super excited about the episode tonight, and I can't wait to do the live watch party in the morning, 7:30 in the morning. Make sure you get your predictions in beforehand, and we'll go through after the watch party. We go through, we score the predictions, and if you do better than Santa, then you make it on the wall of fame here. Star Wars Meg has put her predictions in. A Magic Maker, he sets the bar at the bottom. If you can't beat a Magic Maker, you go on the wall of shame. Of course, right. We don't put you up here on the stream, but you don't want to lose to a Magic Maker. But we're going to have fun this week. Look forward to see you all in the morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll get on, we'll do the watch party, and then we'll talk about the predictions, how it went, what we thought of the episode. One last prediction as we close out, and I'll let you close this, a Magic Maker. Do you think this will be a longer episode or shorter episode than this past one?
Misa think it's going to be a longer episode because Santa.
Very good. Star Wars Meg, thank you so much for the super chat. You're wonderful. Thank you so much. We've had a great time. She livened up the chat. She's absolutely fantastic content creator. And a Magic Maker, you have 2 pieces of homework. When you leave, you have to watch Meg's video from today and get your predictions in. I recommend doing it in that order if you want to get better scores.
Okay. Well, that's bad for all of y'all because that means that if I do that and do well, that you're all end up on the wall of shame.
It raises the bar. It raises the bar. So we really got to watch. Maybe you should reverse it. You should put them in, then watch Meg's video and go, realize. Man. Oh, man. Yeah. All right. Well, sign us off, Magic Maker. I'll let you start.
All right, everyone, may the force be with you.
And Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye-bye.